Okay, let's dive into this. Welcome to today's Explainer, where we're going to unpack the completely chaotic, just utterly brilliant social commentary hidden right inside Harsh Rajput's latest comedy sketch, Concert Reality. Now, on the surface, sure, it's a wild, high-energy parody, but as we pull it apart today, you're going to see that it's actually a razor-sharp critique of India's education system, the intense, cutthroat coaching center rivalries in Bihar, and the absolute sensationalism of modern media. So, let's jump right in.
Right off the bat, the sketch hits us with this wildly exaggerated quote, 2 crore kids are watching me live right now. I mean, think about that. That's 20 million students. It immediately hooks you, right? And it perfectly sets the absurd, fast-paced tone for the whole thing. The character of Khan Sir just throws this massive number out there with complete nonchalance while he's teaching online. It's such a hilarious jab at the unbelievable scale that popular online educators claim to operate on today. We are instantly dropped into a world where literally everything is dialed up to 11.
Section 1. An absurd interview setup. Engineering comedy through exaggeration.
So the whole premise revolves around a reporter from the fictional Decoding News. He's desperately trying to interview the notoriously busy, eccentric Khan Sir by crashing a live stream. And to show you just how exaggerated things get, Khan Sir proudly points to his Apple laptop and claims, wait for it, that it's powered by a 12,000 horsepower motor. Yes, a 12,000 horsepower laptop. He delivers this line completely deadpan, claiming no one else in the world has built a motor this powerful. It's exactly this kind of bizarre, hyper-confident boasting that makes the parody work so well. It totally mimics how internet personalities will weave these ridiculous flexes into their educational content just to keep viewers hooked.
Section 2. Critiquing mainstream media. The Dolly media phenomenon.
Now the sketch takes a sharp, unexpected pivot away from online teachers and aims its satirical crosshairs directly at modern news networks. When the reporter finally gets Khan Sir to talk, the conversation shifts to why the teacher avoids giving interviews to mainstream journalists. And that leads us to this incredibly biting quote. Media isn't media anymore. It has become Dolly media. Now Dolly roughly translates to broker or sellout. The sketch is using the Khan Sir to ruthlessly mock the integrity of modern news outlets, essentially accusing them of being completely compromised. It's a heavy accusation, but it's wrapped in this comedic package, and it reflects a very real frustration about the current state of television journalism.
And the source material backs up this critique with some specific, genuinely hilarious examples. First, they mock how the media handles incredibly serious issues like the NEET medical exam paper leaks. They joke that anchors will spin a massive leak as some sort of government masterstroke. Then, they highlight these absurd deflection tactics, like claiming Pakistan sent fake doctors over just to justify the exam leaks. No way, right? And finally, they joke about networks sending cute, entertainment-style anchors to conduct serious geopolitical interviews with figures like Vladimir Putin. It just perfectly illustrates how the sketch believes mainstream anchors deflect from real, systemic issues with absolute sensationalism.
Section 3. The coaching center rivalry. Fighting for the system.
Now what's really interesting here is how we pivot back to the core narrative. The reporter's interview is suddenly hijacked by a territorial war. A rival teacher bursts onto the scene, absolutely furious about torn marketing posters. And this introduces us to the cutthroat business side of the education sector. These guys aren't just educators, they're acting like warlords fighting to control the system. We've got these two fictionalized titans of the rivalry. On one side, Khan International GS and Research Coaching, and on the other, his fierce competitor, Gyandanda, which proudly calls itself the Daroga Factory, meaning the police officer factory. The sketch shows these two grown men, who are supposed to be respected educators shaping millions of lives, devolving into a petty screaming match over who tore whose poster off a wall, and who truly holds dominance over the competitive exam market in Bihar.
So, to settle the dispute, the reporter asks them about their student selection rates, and that leads to this brilliant mathematical joke. Khan Sir proudly claims his institute secured 12,000 selections. The rival, completely refusing to be outdone, claims 13,000 selections. The reporter quickly does the math in his head. Combined, they're claiming 25,000 successful job placements. But here's the punchline. There were only 19,000 actual job vacancies available in the first place. It is just a mathematically perfect takedown of the inflated, impossible marketing claims these coaching centers use to lure in desperate students.
Section 4. The reality of students. The harsh life in Musalapur Hat.
So, the crucial point is that behind all these exaggerated numbers and massive egos, there are real human beings. The sketch brilliantly strips away the comedy for a minute to focus on the harsh socioeconomic reality of Musalapur Hat. Now, this is an actual area in Patna, famous for its dense concentration of coaching centers and student lodges. The reporter delivers a really sobering monologue, basically describing the area as hell on earth. Poor students from all over Bihar arrive with these big dreams of becoming government officers, only to face muddy roads that literally look like swamps when it rains. They're paying thousands of rupees for tiny, windowless rooms, they have no fresh air, no clean water, and they're constantly falling ill with diseases like jaundice. It really forces the viewer to confront the terrible living conditions these impoverished students are enduring, all while the coaching institute owners are off fighting over who's the biggest boss.
Section 5. The value of educators. Beyond the commercial rivalry.
But just when you think the sketch is purely a takedown, it introduces this really crucial layer of nuance. It turns out these flawed, commercialized empires actually have a profoundly positive impact on the lower-class communities they serve. The reporter points out the incredible social work these teachers actually do. They operate hospitals where the poor receive treatment for next to nothing. We're talking blood tests that are even cheaper than government hospital rates. They make education genuinely accessible to the masses by keeping their course fees incredibly low, which allows young people from really impoverished backgrounds to legitimately achieve their dreams of becoming darogas, or police officers. And this brilliantly illustrates that despite the massive egos and the total absurdity, the immense value these teachers bring to society is absolutely undeniable.
All of this builds to the moral core of the video, which is captured perfectly right here.
Ensure that in your fight, the poor student of Bihar doesn't lose.
It's such a passionate plea for dignity. The reporter steps up as the voice of reason, basically reminding these warring educators that their petty rivalries, their poster-tearing, and their ridiculous ego battles shouldn't jeopardize the futures of the vulnerable students who rely on them. It's actually a surprisingly poignant moment tucked inside an otherwise totally chaotic comedy sketch. Section 6. A chaotic climax. From debate to shootout.
Of course, that poignant moment doesn't last very long. The sketch throws logic right out the window and dials the absurdity back up to maximum for an unforgettable ending. Just look at this rapid escalation. Literally, seconds prior, everyone is calm, they're agreeing that the students have to come first. Then, suddenly, news breaks that one of the rivals just smashed the other's car window, and immediately, with absolutely zero transition, a literal PUBG-style gunfight breaks out right inside the classroom. Students are suddenly firing weapons, and when one of them is questioned, he hilariously claims he's just studying the motor of the gun. The poor reporter is caught right in the crossfire as the whole interview devolves into absolute anarchy.
Which leaves us with this final, really provocative thought. Where exactly does educational dedication end and commercial warfare begin? Harsh Rajut's Satire is a wild, hilarious ride, but it leaves us questioning this incredibly fine line. You have these coaching centers that act as literal lifelines for millions of poor students, providing cheap education and healthcare. But at the exact same time, they operate as cutthroat, hyper-commercialized empires driven by massive, massive egos. It's a brilliant, messy paradox, and this sketch captures it perfectly. Well, thank you so much for joining me on this explainer. I really hope this structured breakdown helped you see the genius hidden behind all that comedy. Keep questioning, keep learning, and I'll catch you on the next one.